Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So I had to wake up early in the morning at around 5 to shoot this video because otherwise this video wouldn't have been possible. Now the whole purpose of shooting this video early in the morning was to show you the condensation that is happening on my succulents, the water droplets on my succulents, and this is because of the thick and heavy fog that tends to set in during the winter months. Now this is going to continue until January end. This is how the situation is going to be. So every morning, this is how my succulents are going to look like. Now over here, I have two of my echeverias. You can see there is a little bit of difference in both of these. One of them is reflecting the light back, and the reason behind that is because of the farina. Now the one that is green in color does not have any farina. This one has farina, so it tends to reflect light. But you can see there is a lot of water droplets on my succulents. Now I do not blow off this water because this is very minimum, and even on my Echeveria chihuahuensis there is a lot of water. In fact, all of these succulents that you're seeing over here that are reflecting light, it is because of the heavy and thick farina on them. Apart from that, you can also see all of the pots, the soil is slightly moist. Another thing that I wanted to show you guys over here is my aguides. You can see my aguides is not reflecting light back because they do not have any farina. All of the aguides succulents do not have farina, hence they do not reflect any light back. Now another important thing that I wanted to share with you guys is this is one of the reason why I tend to cut down on my watering during winters. As I said, I either tend to water it once in 2 weeks or once in 2.5 weeks, and there have been times wherein I have not watered my succulents up to 3 weeks as well, but still my succulents have been doing quite well. They have not wrinkled up or they haven't shown any sign of dehydration. The reason is this: as you can see, all of the soil in the pot is slightly moist, and this tends to happen every morning. So if you are a person who is living in such an environment, you might not be aware every morning your succulent tends to get watered by nature. Now when I'm talking about watered by nature, it's not like soggy wet soil. It is going to be barely moist. Probably half a inch of the upper layer of soil is going to be wet, so it's not much of an issue. The succulent is not going to get rotted. But again, this depends from environment to environment. This is what I tend to do in my environment. I do not cover them up with plastic during the night. But if you are from a place wherein the fog is very dense, it's very thick, and you're very afraid of it, then probably at night time you can just put a transparent plastic sheet on them, or you can put any covering on them. But guys, ensure as soon as it's early morning, you have to take out the plastic, because you cannot let the plastic sit on your succulent when there is direct sunlight, because that is going to damage your succulent. So you have to be extremely careful. Or you can just take a succulent blower and blow off the excess water from the crown area, in case if the water tends to stay in the crown area. In my case, the water does not stay on the crown area. By the time it's morning, by the time it's 10 a.m. in the morning, all of the water tends to get evaporated. Now you can see over here my set of aguides also do not reflect light because they do not have farina on them. So as I said, in my case, I do not blow off the water because the water droplets is very minimum. By the time it's early morning, all of the water tends to get evaporated, as you can see on the screen right now. This is around probably 10 to 11 a.m. in the morning, and you can see the soil is completely bone dry. There is no moisture on the upper layer of soil. It looks like it's completely pad dry. So you can only imagine, probably you go early to bed and you don't even notice this, and by the time you wake up in the morning, the soil is completely bone dry, and you're not very sure what has exactly happened throughout the night, because you can see in my previous video how the entire soil, the upper layer of soil, was completely wet. So this is one of the reason why we tend to cut down on the watering. But now guys, again, this completely depends upon your environment and climate, because I'm not very sure of what environment you belong to, because there is going to be a lot of difference, one in the environment, in the climate. Secondly, your soil mix and my soil mix is going to differ. The type of pots that you tend to use is again going to differ. The amount of direct and indirect light that you receive is also again going to differ. So there are going to be a lot of differences in growing succulents. Even though we might be growing the same same type of succulent, but of course there is going to be a lot of difference in terms of growth, in terms of color, in terms of the growth rate, etc. So this is something that you'll have to take care. Now guys, remember, as I said earlier, please do not put a plastic sheet on the succulent when there is direct sunlight. There is a high chance that when the plastic tends to stick or touch the leaves, and if the plastic is warm, it can damage the leaves. So be extremely careful. The moment you tend to see that the sun is starting to rise and the sun is starting to hit on the succulents, immediately take out the plastic. Or if you do not want to get into it, you can just take a succulent blower even before the sun tends to hit on the succulents. If there is water droplets on the succulents, immediately blow it off. So you can either go with one of this method. As I said, personally, I do not do any one of them because the water droplets are not a lot on my succulents and they tend to get evaporated automatically. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep propagating.